this semester is like using the slides more. What I had last semester, like a year ago, last time I taught in the spring, I have some artifacts from there, so you can look that over. Mind you, the dates are wacky, so keep that in mind. Let's see. So your first assignment is a game lab thing. A lot of you have already completed it, Olympic rings. Then the next one's national flag, and I want to give you a couple recommendations and hints on getting both of those assignments done. So what I'm doing right now is signing into code.org. For the first two assignments, two-ish weeks, we'll be using this block-based language um, in Game Lab so that we can focus on the bigger ideas, less so typing out and paying attention to spelling, syntax, and all that. It's much easier to get started dragging and dropping blocks. For us all, I think I gave you, I forgot which code I gave you, maybe this one. So once you're in the code.org, there are actually some pretty good lessons in the code.org curriculum. So for example, I should have just assigned the lessons that I cared about. So if I go, I think here, under their animations unit, there's some cool videos, there's some cool examples. The tool that you're using in this section is exactly the tool that I'm assigning you for your stuff. So you can follow along with this if you're more of a self-directed learner, and then get ahead. Okay, so you'll have this thing, click run, and then you'll see some, oh, nice, giraffe. Ooh, giraffes, okay. And then finish, and then move on. Oh, great, thank you. And then look at that. Okay, Neptune. Okay, great. And then, you can skip on. It is like okay, and then what do I want to, right, Game Lab, right, using the grid. So it's for a wide range of learners. You may find some of these lessons are way too slow. Like for example, when you're building out new shapes, there's the rectangle, right? Flags are often rectangular instead of circular. So this is a new drawing function for you. They start you here, versus me, I started you using ellipses because the Olympic rings are that much cooler. Who wants to be squared when you can be circular? So you click run, it works you through that. You read the directions. Often there's more hiding away, so you have to scroll down, and tells you to do some things. It's all optional. I'm not checking this for progress, but it does have good tidbits of lessons. Okay, and then continue. And then sometimes there's videos that tell you a bit more about the code in oftentimes more clearer fashions than I can. So more resources for you. And this tool is exactly the one that you're doing. So then they teach you, like to get the Olympic rings done, you would probably have to color your objects. And when you work on your national flag, you'll probably have to color your squares. So then they introduce things at a pretty easy, relaxing pace. Now you're introduced to the fill thing. They introduce block by block instead of having like all these things overwhelm you. For example, like here, if you're creating a new pin, where did I stop last time? Like this, it cuts away a lot of the confusing stuff as we are new to computer programming. So it just organizes it a bit better. How you get there after you sign in, just look for the lessons. And often I'll refer to them in my slides. Lesson 3 is great, a great starting point. And then you can look on, you'll learn about, okay, how do I animate things? That's like the next thing after we're done with static pictures, pictures that don't move. The next topic we talk about is pictures that do move. And they tell you how to do that. One way for you to get ahead to learn what's coming up. And for today, where did we go? Okay, I had something like this on the screen from what I talked about yesterday. So one thing that's useful for you is like filling in different circles. So I'm still working on like the Olympic rings. Maybe I have like 2 circles that look like that, right? Okay, that one's way too big. I want to highlight a particular block that will be useful, that you will need for your national flag, and that one is called the comment block. It's gray, and comments are things, lines, sentences, phrases. This stuff is ignored by the computer, but for us as readers, for us as humans, this is a good way for us to organize code. So we can leave little notes for ourselves. Like this is the yellow ring. Then down here, this comment, this one is the red ring. The red ring. so on and so forth. And you'll see my output looks exactly the same, except now I have these notes that makes it easier for me to understand as a human, less so for the computer, because it just ignores it. For example, if I didn't have color there, after a while, it's going to get confusing. In the Olympic ring assignment, you have like 5 ellipses at least, right? So then you draw them all over one another. You're like, okay, what's the difference? Like here, I dragged over 3 more red ellipses, but I only see 1. Turns out the computer actually draws them 3 on top of one another. There are in fact different ellipses here. For example, if I move this one over, the first coordinate over to the right, there it is. And if I move this one over, maybe over there, we'll see it. Now our 3 circles are very clear. You'll see 1 on top. 1 at the bottom is at center 200, 200, right here. The other one is to the right. Notice that second, it's drawn second, so it's in the middle. And the one that's on the left with the center at x coordinate 100, that one's on top. So you see all that circle right here. It's these kinds of details that will really matter, these tiny details. Like some of you noticed in my assignment prompt, in my Olympic ring picture, that there was slight overlaps. Like, I'll pull it up, right around here. Right, in my image example, zoom, 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 zoom. Come on, Wi-Fi. You can do it. Okay, you notice like this thing, right? Like over here, the black goes under the green ring, the black goes under the yellow ring, it goes above the blue ring, and then this part, it goes below the blue ring, right? So some of you paid attention to that. I think that's possible for you to accomplish. Some students did do that before, but it takes some more shapes than necessary in order to get this exact picture. Most of the time, you'll just have one blue ring and then overlapping red ring on top of one another, as I demonstrated here. Okay? And that's okay. As long as they're roughly in the right position with the right color sequence, you get full credit. And even if you didn't get full credit, you'll just talk to me, want to revise the assignment. Okay? Comments. This thing is useful. As your programs get more and more complex, often from day to day you'll forget where you left off before. These are notes and reminders to you. Next up, let's say you're exploring a new block. Like some of you asked in your reflections that I will pretty much routinely check now at 6 p.m.-ish or after. You want to explore these new blocks? Okay, how do I deal with color, Mr. Chen? It's like, great question, student. Let me answer that. So, these things have to deal with color. Notice their inputs involve color. And now when you hover over a block, there are C examples. I want you to click on that. And in the beginning, these C examples is how you'll get more information. By the end of the semester, a lot of these words will make sense. For now, maybe only a couple of those words make sense. This is like the instruction manual on how you use your code. How do you use this block called stroke? And if we read carefully, it says, sets the color used to draw lines, points, and outline shapes. Neat. So maybe over here, I noticed the stroke or the outline is black. Maybe I want to change that to red because I want it to go away. This is probably the block that I want to use. So I'll drag it maybe over here and then turn it to be red. Ta-dang. Yeah, all of them turn red. And maybe I'll highlight these select blocks. Did you know you can move multiple blocks at once? Highlight all those, drag all this chunk of blocks up here, and then I'll see my yellow block on top. And you're like, wait a second. Is that all right? No. If you look very carefully, the outline of my yellow circle is in fact red. But then, wait, no. No, it's not even, yeah, that one's red, but then this outline turned to black. One of the big ideas you should have paid attention to is the order that these blocks are drawn in matters. Like if you put red at the very beginning and you don't put down yellow down here, well then all these things are going to be red. There's a certain order, right? Like, the ellipse is right here, but we can't see it because it's red on top of red. And if we fill with a different color, move it back up, then we see our yellow one, okay? So look for these things. Something that it doesn't make sense, try to figure out why. Keeping that mindset will keep you, you'll learn a lot, not just from my class, but from all your other classes, like math and science, especially. Okay, so maybe like then we want to figure out, okay, when I'm drawing new shapes, you can explore all these other ones. Just click on See Example, and now they'll give you some things. Down here, you'll see the text-based versions of our blocks. If you want to type things out instead of drag and drop, I'm highlighting Show Text in the upper right-hand corner. If you click that, all of these blocks get turned to lines of code. Maybe that's easier for you to copy and paste. Go ahead. For now, I strongly recommend you do show blocks, right? Like stay here for the first week because I find this way much easier. But if you want to get a head start, you feel like you're ready, you can go show text. So let's say you wanted to borrow some code, like from here. You'll probably have to use the show text option to paste in some code and then see what happens. Like here, goodness. Copy paste, go away A. Down here, and we add a comment, example from xmaple, right? From regular polygon. Okay, paste. Ooh. Wow, look at all that. Neat, isn't it? Ooh. Okay. Yeah, and then copy and pasting. Another thing you'll get very comfortable with. So, in a nutshell, Computer Programming A, I've showed you today the gray comment block. That's useful for organizing. I've showed you show example, or see examples down here to learn and get some hints on what new blocks do. I've highlighted the lessons that are built into code.org that are a great tool for you to acquaint yourself to gradually work through at your own pace. And yeah. The other thing I should announce is that our first quiz, which will be on next Friday. Okay, 2 weeks of work. Next Friday you'll have a quiz. We'll be in here. I think it's okay that we're sitting in groups. You'll take the test. You'll turn it in, and you can go after that. So as soon as you finish the quiz, the Friday is yours. You're welcome to stay afterwards to work on your assignments to get things done. I tend to have assignments due at 11:59 p.m. on every Friday. People like to turn things in late, and sometimes right at 11:58 p.m. So you're welcome to do that too. That's all. Computer programming.